Hello, Visions, and welcome to this session of the Curriculum Fair. We are joined by Hiveclass, who will be sharing about their platform. So, floor is yours. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching this recorded video. I'm excited to share with you a little bit more about Hive Class. We are really engaging physical education program, great for students in independent study or virtual settings. We know what's out there, and typically what schools are doing are, activity logs. I walk the dog for 20 minutes, or really passive types of PE programs where you're just reading and writing only. But what makes Hive Class really special is that we show your students how to learn the foundational individual skills needed for more than 20 different sports and activities. So, really great because for that personalized learning environment, your student can kind of do their own choose your own adventure type of program and really follow follow their heart, see where their interests are. Maybe they've always been curious about dance or self-defense, and this gives them the ability to explore those options and hopefully fall in love with a form of movement, and really getting new skills and moving their bodies, which we know are even more important for students who are in home settings and things like that. So our digital platform covers standards for K through 12. We have elementary, which I'll share with you in a minute, that's organized a little bit differently than middle school and high school. We have a quote here from an independent studies student actually based here in California who was saying how much they loved the structure of our lessons, not having to go on YouTube looking for random videos because all of our content is scaffolded, was created by certified PE teachers, coaches, and experts in the field. You can really trust the order that we go in, starting from the very, very fundamentals and the basics. So if your student has no background or experience playing basketball or doing pickleball, no problem. We'll start from the very beginning. So the way that our digital platform is designed is we have all these different types of content and learning content differentiated across all different types of subjects. As I mentioned, what makes us different are our movement videos. We really teach students how to move their bodies, increasing those physical literacy skills and exposing them to all of these different sports and activities that you see listed on the right. So a lot of diversity from ball-based sports to other things like strength and conditioning, nutrition. You want to go for mindfulness or yoga, we have those options in there. And so we will break down those skills into little bite-sized videos. But beyond our skill videos, we also cover different types of concepts and principles. For example, you go into our dance unit, we'll explain why posture is really important to dance. We include reflections and journals, and a lot of schools do still require activity logs, so we have that in there, as well as assessments to test for understanding for the different things that we are teaching throughout the various lessons. So, a little bit about the elementary curriculum. So, we know that kids change so much, especially from those grades from K through 5. Each year is just so massively different. I know you've seen your kids grow. And so, the way we have it is not necessarily organized around sport or activity, but around these developmental skill areas. So, you see the bullet point on your left: body management, flexibility, locomotor movement, etc. So within each of those categories, we break down the lessons from K through 5, and we give you tons of lead up games, simple activities, skill videos, warm up videos. That really target learning those skills and meeting those milestones, right? So we'll give you lots of different skills and movements to do to increase your manipulative skills or your rhythmic skills for the appropriate grade level. And then as your kid continues on, we'll still have skills in those areas, but of course, it will increase in difficulty with each grade. And then for the rest of the platform, it is aligned to grades 6 through 12. So those ones you see in the background: soccer, tennis, etc. Although if you have an elementary child and you want them to look into one of those sports, absolutely okay. I know a bunch of us started soccer in elementary school. I did. So even though it's technically aligned to 6 through 12, feel free to check those out. Things like gymnastics as well. Maybe some portions of, the fitness won't be as appropriate, but you can also pick and choose where you want to go. So Really, these different activities are created in a way that's really easy to follow. I'm going to jump over to the platform in just a moment, but wanted to show you that we have all of these different pieces in and modifications as well to meet students where they are. So I'm going to quickly jump over to the platform to show you what it looks like. Just give me a moment as I switch over tabs. Okay. I'm hoping you all see. Okay, great. I'm getting a nod. Awesome. So when you log into your Hiveclass account, this is what you see. You have all of our different units in alphabetical order. Here's the lower elementary, which covers K through 2, and upper elementary covers grades 3 to 5. And so since I had spoken to you a little bit about elementary, this is how it's organized. So the first kind of section is just the overview, sort of giving you a little bit of insight into what you're going to be learning as well. But then you get into the actual lessons themselves. So you see, I clicked on body management, and we have all these lessons for K, which is kindergarten. So we of course adapt things to the grade level. So for kindergartners, we know that, they're maybe just starting to learn to read a little bit. So we're going to need a little bit more of, parental guidance, but we're using language that's really appropriate for them. So we're learning about shaping your path and what is the concept of personal space. Personal space is the area that you can reach with your arms and your legs. And then how we reinforce this concept is through our warm-up videos. We have different activities teaching you what different shapes you can make with your body. And then we have these skill videos, as I explained. So I'm going to play a little bit of one. Again, keeping that kind of cute idea of creating a shape with your body, but also teaching you personal space. All right, so you get an idea of how one of our elementary skill videos is. We really like to have our student athletes represented in our videos. So this is a real kindergartner, and of course the athletes grow up as you go along the curriculum. And so that's just one of more than 2,000 videos we have on our platform. And again, here we're in kindergarten working on the concept of personal space, which is in the body management topic. And then, of course, as you go through these lessons, you also have first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Down here, also, I wanted to show you. So if I collapse these different topics, you have lead up games, right, that you can do. So these are fun games that you can do with your students. You can also see that in that video I shared, you don't need any equipment except for a safe space. We all always set it up. Sometimes we'll need some minimal equipment, but there'll be very simple things like a marker to put on the ground. It doesn't have to be a cone. It could be, a shoe or something else you have on hand to make it simple to do at home. Besides this, we have brain breaks, and then these are activities that you can do that are written out. So if you have parents that want to set it up, very simple things you can do. Again, we're working on increasing those physical literacy skills. So that is how our elementary is organized. Again, the lower covers grades K through 2, and then upper is 3 to 5. And then the rest of these units here are what I explained are aligned to grades 6 through 12 standards. And so for those older kids that are in middle school, high school, again, this is really a great way for them to have their own personalized learning journey. So, this is this narrative that students make in their heads that we're trying to challenge that, oh, I'm not athletic. I don't like PE. And here at Hiveclass, we're really trying to change that. We know that there are lots of kids that are privileged and get to be involved in youth sports and have found something that they love and are running with. That's fantastic. We are so happy for those students, but there are also students who haven't really found what it is yet that they love. And instead of just kind of ignoring their PE journey and just letting them walk as their PE minutes, give them this exposure to these other activities, give them that choice, right? And then for you as a parent or guardian, you don't have to worry so much about sinking in hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on a new activity that you're not sure your kid might be into. So maybe this is the beginning, a foundational start to that. So something I want to share. So for example, I like these sort of less traditional options that we have on Hive Class that make it fun to do. It's great if you want to do your more traditional things like basketball, soccer. Something I want to explain about those team sports, you might be thinking, how do I do this virtually? Well, we're focused on the individual skills. So we don't need to necessarily be on a basketball court, and we're not focused on the gameplay. What we're going to teach you in basketball are the skills needed for dribbling, for passing, for shooting, your posture, your form. And we're going to work on that. So we will need a basketball and hopefully a hoop at some point, but we're not going to be focused on the actual gameplay. This is all the skills that you need to work on your own before you get there. So just a little note about that. I was going to show you dance because I think that's something that's really popular now that kids are on TikTok. They love to get on there. And we should actually learn the actual real foundational skills for dance and not just the popular dance of the moment, right? So again, just like elementary, we have the overview here. And then you look at your different topics. We have jazz, traveling steps and kicks, hip hop, ballet, etc. If you want to start from the very beginning, that's great. We have it built out for you. So you have these 5 pre-built lessons. You can think of like each lesson being like a day's worth of PE. So it depends on how often your child is needing to do PE or wants to do PE. But we look into lesson one, and now you can see there's typically around anywhere between 5 to 10 different tasks. Now, the tasks can be a self assessment. Before we even get started, how confident do you feel in your skills? Maybe your kid's never done this, so they're going to say a one. I have no idea how to do, jazz steps. The next task will be a journal. What is your goal? We're working on goal setting. And then the first movement video is going to be a warm up. We want to get our body ready for further movement, which you can understand and probably follow. But then here's our first skill in dance. We're going to learn the plie, right? So I'll play a little bit for you.
Okay.
Okay, so here is a little bit of the plie video so you get a feeling and understanding of how one of our videos is. Oh, turn
Dance,
on the sound.
the plie. This movement builds strength, balance, and posture. Before we begin, make sure you have a safe space and something to hold on.
I wanted to just pause here and point out to you, you can see the muscle groups we're targeting, the learning outcomes here, and the equipment or what you need for this. In this case, it's just a safe space and a wall for support, right?
To. Stand tall with feet slightly turned out. Keep your upper body steady. Bend your knees slowly, then straighten to rise back up. Imagine you're in an elevator lowering and lifting. Place both hands on the support if you need more stability. Now,
So I also wanted to point out, I'll let the video keep running on mute, is that we have modifications included in every single video. We really want to meet students where they are and not feel discouraged if they're not able to do the skill as presented. And so for any students who want to go back and rewind this, they can really do that and do it as many times as they need until they feel confident doing the skill by themselves. I think this is a huge benefit, especially if you have any students with special needs. They can really go at their own pace. They can use the modifications. We also have assistive tech built in, which I'll show you here. If you press this green button, you can see we have different contrasts for different types of color blindness. You can choose a bigger text if you need a dyslexia friendly font and many other settings. And so if you choose any of those settings, it will remember it for the next time you are logged into the platform. So we're really trying to make this accessible for learners of all backgrounds and abilities. So going back to the structure of our lessons, you can see the plie was the first skill video, but we actually have 3 skill videos in this one lesson. Again, you can rewind and do it as many times as you need. And then here we talk about posturing. It's important in dance. And then a quiz, a short 2-question quiz to test understanding. As you go through our different lessons, our quizzes will get longer as they become, cumulative and things like that. And these are all auto-graded for the multiple choice. So that's just one lesson out of 5 that we have for every topic. So again, you have traveling, steps and kicks, hip hop, full body, etc. So if you look at these units, they typically cover anywhere between, I would say not elementary, that's a lot more content, but the other activities are about 4 to 6 weeks worth of PE, depending on how often you're doing it. And of course, your student can do so many different sports and activities, up to them how much they want to do. If you want something more prepackaged into semesters, we have these high school semester courses down here. So there's 4 options. So an example here is, here you can see the syllabus. It covers 17 weeks, 34 lessons, tells you the pacing, the equipment you'll need, and it sort of repackages some of the content from the other units into a full semester. So here we're going to be focused on mobility and yoga, but also include lots of other tasks like we saw in terms of reading and writing alongside our skill videos. Very soon, we're going to have middle school semester courses in here, as well as elementary. So those will be coming out in the next few months. But for now, you have all of the other units available up here. So with that, I'm guessing we don't have questions, but I wanted to just explain how our pricing works and our subscription really quickly. So that is $99 for an annual subscription to our entire platform. We don't choose it by unit. We don't need to sign up your kid for each individual one. They will get access to everything that you saw. So your high school courses, elementary, all of the units that are aligned to 6 through 12 standards, right? You don't need to pick and choose. And that subscription starts the day that your account is created. So whether you sign up tomorrow, you sign up in September, or next February, you will have a full year from that date that your account is created to access the platform. There are also ways for you to be able to share your progress with your assigned teacher, if that's something that you have to do to show that you've done or completed parts of the program. Anything else I can cover?
Yeah, there is one question in the chat, and usually we stop the recording for the Q&A part, but I think this one is worth capturing in the
Sure.
recording. Was just, is it all digital?
Yes, so it is fully asynchronous. It's a great question. All of this is pre-recorded, so you can access it anytime. We've had kids do this in their bedrooms, in their backyards, or they take a tablet to like the local park, right? They're like, oh, I don't have I want to be on a basketball court because I don't have a hoop at home. They bring their own basketball and they can do that. I've even heard things where kids who have their own accounts, they were so excited about the skills that they learned in an activity that they were out on the street playing with their friends, like showing videos and like demonstrating things. So, this is what we really want to see. We want to see kids really take off with something that they love, and it's flexible enough to be carried with any device. So it's a web browser. That's all you need. It's not an app. You don't need to download anything. So when you submit your purchase order, we create the account for you and send you the instructions to log in, but it's not an app. It can be on a phone, a tablet, a laptop.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. You should have my information. I sent a flyer along. So if you have any questions about anything further, feel free to reach me. It's Sharon@hiveclass.co. And I hope we see more of your students and help them gain new skills for physical literacy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for presenting today.